My name is Rochelle Labbe-Bellas, and I am the founder of Oland Stations.
Rochelle, please begin by giving us a brief introduction of Oland Stations and what it strives to achieve.
I am a marine biologist by training, 3 years now entrepreneur, and this driving force of my passion for the oceans and the waste that I saw out at sea is what really brought me to create Oland. So at Oland, our vision is to create a world without single-use plastic waste, because I know how much that pains me to see it in our environments and now in our livelihoods, in our waterways, in our bodies, etc. But we aim to do this by bringing back value to infrastructure that was once forgotten. So what is infrastructure once forgotten? It's really refill stations or water stations, which are now the alternatives to these single-use plastics. So I originally started with water refill stations as the main pain for replacing single-use plastic bottles in events. And then given 2020, as it was a pandemic year, we wanted to remain relevant and create also another solution. So we expanded to include hand washing stations as well. So that helps, of course, cut back on the sanitizer bottles and all the other things that are these temporary fixes, let's call them.
People might not know this, but Montreal is very much a water city. In fact, it's an island, and the St. Lawrence River is a huge ecosystem and water body with islands, etc., a lot of wildlife. Is that one of the reasons why it made sense to set up your business there? And what other competitive advantages made you decide to do that?
Yeah, well, I was doing work in the US in California at the time that I thought of this idea and kind of had to act. So I thought of setting up in San Diego, where I was based, but I had a mentor actually who worked for the Canadian government. He just reminded me that, Canada has extremely good support for launching your company. To operate out of Canada, you have lower costs, there's less competition, and then there's nothing saying that you could, bring your markets back out west. So I moved back, and of course, I realized how good of a quality of life we have here, how we lower expenses compared to California as well, and the proximate nature, access to nature. My company as well also benefited because, I learned when I was doing my market analysis that Montreal is actually the #1 city in North America for free outdoor festivals. So as I was determining my first target market, I said, this is actually a really good place to launch this in the event space. And of course, we've got access to steel, which is what my product's made of. And we have, cleaner energy with hydro. So I think those are the advantages of starting up here. Of course, you're really close to Europe and the US, but you're living in Canada with a lot of good government policies and protections.
How would you actually describe the business ecosystem in Montreal, and in particular for clean tech startups? What sort of supports exist?
There's lots of support for clean tech, and I know, leaders like EcoFuel, who I kind of went through. They have an incubator and accelerator. I went through a couple selection processes, and they're a Montreal-based startup company with portfolios. Their cycle capital management, I've been put in front of there, had an introduction. I've had a mentor from Divergent Capital, which is an investment firm for green and clean technologies. I've had introductions to Ange Quebec because they have lots of interest in supporting environmental missions and whatnot. I wanted to, mention the Aqua Hacking Network, which is a water entrepreneur hub. And in 2019, I won the Great Lakes Challenge. And they are amazing at connecting us with government, municipal support. They continue to reach out to their alum. They've now gone across Canada. They were originally just Eastern, and now they're spanning, and lots of solutions are being proposed for these really small startups. A lot of them are university students. I was kind of one of the older ones in my early 30s.
What is Montreal like in terms of a community around clean tech, around social change, around green technologies? And is it easy to find people to work with you, talent, partners? Do you feel supported in that sense as a community?
I feel supported with the early stage incubation systems. I think those are really great. There's diverse amounts of them. I already mentioned EcoFuel, Santec, which is out of ETS, the D3 program at Concordia, Esplanade, which I was an entrepreneur in residence at. So they allow like free office space, mentorship. They helped me get grants for le Ministère Économie Innovation. I was a member of Ecotech Quebec, which is like a yearly membership. So they have lots of like little events or online ways to kind of connect you to other people, to find staff and find employees.
Do you have any opinion on Montreal's ability to attract foreign investment in the clean, green, and perhaps in your case in the social purpose kind of space?
I think we definitely have like that ability to attract international people. I think we need more of them. I'm just taking off my experience on the one of the incubation programs that I was with, early stage for pre-seed funding. It was called Founder Institute. And during this 5-month really crazy program, which I super encourage for any entrepreneur listening out there, really validates your business plan. I think what I learned there is because it's a global incubator that Montreal is hungry for international investors. I feel like the energy was that Canadian investors are there, but they're not as busy. They're a little play it safer. They're a little slower to act compared to like our U.S. big risk takers. I think that we've got so much space for prototyping and piloting with governments that's just a validation in its own. If a government wants to back you, like, you know, I've been lucky to, you know, get government support, provincial and a little bit of federal support already. If that is already, that's kind of like your credibility. So if those governments are trusting in you and hoping that you grow, all you need is that extra push to really scale quick. So, I mean, if you could just look at the Aqua Hacking website and see the list of the recipients or the alums already, that's already just like a big teaser for investors to come check out. Wow, look at these young kids are doing, like, and it's such a diverse melting pot. It's a small city. You can, you know, get it from A to Z in the metro, and you can go downtown for a quick meeting. It's just really easy to mingle, you know, outside the social distancing norms now. But it really, really helped. And all the big conferences that they used to have, the C2 Montreal, that's a great place to attract international talent. And that's where I find a lot of US people would come here and go, oh, wow, I would love to set up shop here. So those types of events really helped, you know, shine the city of Montreal.
And Montreal is as a part of Quebec, is also quite singular within Canada. Of course, the language is the greatest difference, but there are cultural differences and others. How do you compare, how do you stack up Montreal or Quebec entrepreneurs versus entrepreneurs from the rest of Canada?
Well, we are like multilingual, so that's a really big advantage. I mean, we could tap into European markets as well, and we have a lot of opportunities with France, with the exchanges. So it's a great place to go test your solution and your business models there. I was part of last year the Montreal Lab, which is a tourism, culture, and entertainment incubator, and lots of opportunities arose. I think that's an advantage for sure, and the fact that we've got a really good quality of life, and we've got a really good lower cost for our expenses for your overheads. So I think that to me is kind of where entrepreneurs here in Montreal are a little bit more risk-takery. Excuse my risk. Yeah, they're bigger risk takers than maybe in Toronto, where, you know, you're gonna go broke if you don't make the next month. You know, because you're affording $2,000 to $3,000 a month for rent when you're launching your company is, especially if you have a family, it's just not possible. So that's what I would say for the difference.
And finally, if we bring us back a little bit to clean tech, green technologies, and, you know, social community-based solutions, what's the future for Montreal and Canada in that space, in your opinion? What kind of trends do you see right now that you think, you know, will be shaping the future or important to watch?
I think we're off to a very good start. I think we have a couple years because Quebec kind of was a leader with California, maybe even a couple of years ago, about clean energy and clean adoption. But I think we still need to improve on the whole customer adoption of the technologies. I didn't mention this before, but I don't know if you have heard of Fonds Eco Leader. It's a government support, right, from the provincial, and it helps companies incentivizes companies to adopt your technology. So you could rent from us, and then they could get a third party service to see if you really are like approved, let's say, with a third party auditor, and I've been pushing this for maybe 2 years. So if a client comes to me and says they want to try my product, but they don't have the budget, and I'm saying, use Fonds Eco Leader. It's a financement. It'll pay for me, pretty much you to use me, because there is quite a bit of money. I think there's $18.5 million that they've committed to support in this field. The other thing I think is, like what we said before, is that tech on its own, if it's not adopted by the companies or the consumers, it's not going to solve the issue. I think we need to have a more like multifaceted approach to address these together and not look at them in these like individualized compartments.